So this is a person on screen. And let's say this is your ideal partner. Yeah, this person is somebody you get along with well. And I'm going to represent here the experience that this person has through how big their head is. Okay, so this person is well experienced, well lived, and the person that has a small head, no, I wanted to delete this, not make another one. So a person with a small head, not that much experience. Okay, bear with me. Which would you rather have as your perfect partner? Somebody who has like 18 years of experience and not a day more, who never had sex, who never had arguments in relationships, who never had the necessary situations to hurt others and to be hurt and to get over it and to pick up on things that are useful tools in managing a relationship. Or you can have the person that's going to handle everything very maturely, that's going to already have all the sex techniques, so you don't have to like stick to the two or three positions and then maybe experiment with some, I don't know, doggy, because this person knows it all. Okay, they can open your eyes, they can show you things that you never even considered. This person is well read, well watched of Netflix series, I don't know, and they're well acquainted with how people are. They've already been to the teenage drama bullshit that most relationships end up on, or end up with, or break up with during our first couple of experiences. And all in all, they're a well rounded person that knows what they want. Two possibilities. One,
Teacher, can I
person with.
reply?
No, wait till I finish. So, one,
Crazy.
small head, not a lot of experience. Second, big head, a lot of experience.
So,
There
can
is
I?
always someone that is less emotional growth, not to be confused about intelligence and everything. So no, I'm not suggesting that one means everything else. I'm just saying a lot of experiences makes for a more fleshed out and mature person in most cases. This was literally my first sentence in my mathematical proof of polyamory. Yes, Alpaca, go.
Can I just choose the one that I'm in love with?
Yes, let's say you're in love with both, and you're thinking of starting a relationship with them,
See,
potentially
if
for the rest of your life.
so, if this is about a defense of polyamory, because can I date them both?
Not yet. We're just now considering the one person. So it doesn't matter. It's irrelevant what you feel towards each because they're the same person. Hypothetically, they're the same. So they're the same physical being. And you feel the same emotions. You just know that their previous experience is one or the other. And we're not getting into your other relationships in your life, okay? So far. We're just making a prototype of a person one way or another. Okay? Now,
Yes.
how does a
Yes.
person, I'm just going to assume that being more experienced is a good thing. If anybody has an issue
I
with that, I can discuss it.
we
Yeah?
understand. I think everybody understands the premise, but this is the deal. Dodjos. You cannot formulate something like that. Like I mean, you can
I just did.
make, and it's inefficient.
What you don't know because you interrupted me after one premise.
You don't see, but I have my beach face.
I don't. Okay. Do you want me? Do you want to be muted?
No, thank you. I mean,
as I was
sure.
as
If
I
you
was saying. So okay, I'm gonna try to keep it briefer, more brief. So we have a person, and let's agree that we want this person to be well experienced. So we want a big head, a big mind, a big experience, just a person who's seen it all. Now, how does a person see it all, relationship wise? Well, you need to spend some time with a person. Let's say arbitrarily, you need between 6 months and a year to get to know a person, to live out with them something that can be considered a serious relationship. Now, I know that this is an arbitrary choice of months or years. You might say you need forever, your whole life. You'll never ever get to know a person completely. You can say, I can know this person in an instant. But if we look at the general average of time we needed in our lives to get to know, to really get to know a person and to get to know what they mean to us and to know if they're good for us or not and to pick something up from them. I believe that it would take some time. Yeah, some time. This is the time. Wait, let me. So let's say this is the time that it requires for them to build some experience. I can write keywords, yeah. So premise one, more XP is more better. So I'm assuming that the more experienced you are, the better you are for yourself and for others. Second, takes time to build experience. Okay? We can argue on how much time this is, but it does take some time. And our experience oftentimes comes from relationships that we build with other people. So far, I don't just mean romantic relationships. I mean all the relationships that we form. So a relationship with your favorite franchise or a relationship with your lover. Both require some time. And when you have this line of experience, one next to another, you're going to get, let's say this is three experiences, okay? XP3, level 2, over here. This is how much experience you gather with three interactions. But if we go to premise number one, more experience is more better, then we need as much as we can get of this, right? Because a well-rounded person will not only have had like two boyfriends in their life or two girlfriends in their life, they'll have had a dozen of them to get to know, the mistakes so that they don't have to redo these mistakes with you, so you don't have to spoil your ideal future relationship. Okay, so far so good. We have an experience, we have an experience bar, and we have some time that it requires to build this experience. How we usually go about building this experience in a monogamous world is we do one, then we break up, we wait a bit, then we get into another experience, then we break up, then we wait another while. Okay? And so on and so on. Depending on how much you choose as the average time span that it takes to get to know somebody really and to get some meaningful experience from them, it falls down that in your, let's say, 30 or 40 years of your life before you're considered off the romantic sexual sort of relationship market, or maybe you're not, but let's choose an arbitrary number of years for those who want to start families while they're fertile. So let's say by the time they're 30, and let's say you start being sexually active and romantically engaged when you're 15. I mean, these are all arbitrary, but it's a nice round number. So let's say you have 15 years of being active before it's time to settle down and start a family, have kids, and a car, and a job, and a life for the rest of your life. Okay? It would come down to maybe couple dozen partners max. So if you take at least half a year to get to know somebody and you just have them one after the other without them overlapping, so you're not cheating, it would, provided that you have partner after partner and not just spend any time being single, it would come down to being maybe a couple dozen partners before it's time to settle down. And if you don't have the ideal case, it might come to one, two partners, seven. I don't know. I don't know what the average number of partners is that the average person has before they settle down and they choose that this one partner that they have to spend the rest of their lives with is the optimal. And what is the experience that this number of partners brings you? Enter polyamory or the zipper technique. So let's say we're not watching the timeline like this. So it's no longer going this way. Instead, it's going this way because it's easier to draw. And let's say we have a certain overlap in these experiences. I mean, we indubitably do have overlap in these experiences. It's just not when it comes to romantic partners. Now, this way, if we don't have them one after the other, but rather have them at the same time, we can have twice or maybe three times as much experience in the same time frame. Yeah. So what Doc was saying before about time being a finite resource, that's true. You can only fit so much activity in 24 hours of a day. So of course I'm not saying that you can have an infinite number of partners because time isn't infinite. But still, that's not what we're discussing here. We're discussing whether you can overlap certain relationships to get more experience out of them. I think so. We had the first and the second premise. Takes time to build experience. 3. Overlapping XP provides more room for more XP. I think so far this is sounding dumb, not because it's meaningless, but because it's so simple and hard to dispute that we're just going along with it. Yeah? Now let's consider why, if we want a partner which has the most experience they can have, when it's time to commit to us, why would we would not want this partner to have had polyamorous relationships? Is there any reason?
I have a question.
Yeah,
Why are you making an argument with people that don't disagree with you?
I'm making a mathematical approach.
I
I'm trying
actually
to.
do.
Okay,
Actually
yeah.
do
On which
disagree.
part
I'm
do you
just waiting.
disagree with?
The experience
Yeah, let's
and
hear it.
monogamous relationships.
Okay,
Okay, so there are a lot of ways to gain experience without having to have sex with that many people.
that's
Us
true.
girls, for example, talk a lot. I know a lot about dicks that I shouldn't have known if I didn't talk to men. Like, y'all don't tell us shit, but our friends do. Like, my friends tell me that girls, we don't give hand jobs, we male friends taught me how to do hand jobs right. I wouldn't know. No one that fucked ever told me that I was a massive bloodshed kind of thing. I don't know. Y'all told me I didn't have to fuck anybody. Blowjobs, same shit. There's a lot of shit I wouldn't know if my male friends didn't tell me. I didn't. You guys, you don't talk a lot. I learned a lot because I have dirty ass friends that talk too much.
Look, if you think I
Basically.
don't
Oh,
talk a lot after 1 hour and 40
and
minutes of this stream, then you have the wrong
wait a
impression.
minute. There's another thing. I spend many hours, and don't fucking kink shame me for this, on instructional, tantric sex kind of pornographic movies, like 1 hour long How to Give a Hand Job movie.
Okay.
You know, I don't have to fuck anyone to learn how to fuck. I just know
Yeah, so your argument is
someone.
that you can get experience without actually establishing relationships with real life people and doing it in
Exactly.
practice. So if you hear from a friend how to give a hand job, you're not actually experiencing it with a partner that you want to give a hand job to. You're just sharing experiences. Granted, what does
Yeah.
this have to do with my premise? I'm saying we have a lot of relationships which we already overlap in our daily lives. And yes, those relationships also build experience. I'm just talking about now these red lines, these red experience bars are specifically for the types of relationships we think should be monogamous. I mean, we usually hold as monogamous. So if I wanted to draw your friend here, who taught you how to give hand jobs, it would be somewhere around, let's say, so you have your first partner, and then at the same time you realize that, let's call him Billy. Billy is the green line here. You also had this relationship with Billy, and even though you didn't give Billy a hand job, Billy taught you how to give better hand jobs. And then you had Mark, your second partner, and you were one experience better for Mark. Mark got good hand jobs because you knew how to give hand jobs, right?
Yeah.
So I agree that there are situations where you can just watch an instructional video on a certain topic and then gain experience. But I'm not talking about these situations. You could just as well replace this bar with this bar, and I'm saying, is it possible to gain experience by having more? I mean, is it possible to better your future relationships by having more experience in your previous relationships? I don't think that your argument is contrary to
Guys,
my argument.
guys, I need to leave. So let me just say my piece and then I will
Yeah.
abandon you. So I do not think what you're saying is invalid. So I would personally never reject a partner because their previous relationship was with 100 people at the same time. That would be some very impressive scheduling skills, like for real. That I want to learn how you schedule your shit. However, um sexual skills for me does not equal a quality relationship. Maybe it means that you can super give head and you have magical fingers, and maybe
Wait,
that's
do you feel
something
that's the
I
argument
want.
we've been making? Do you
Sorry,
think that we boil down relationships to sex?
is it not what you've been saying so
No,
far?
that's just a one specific detail of a relationship that we hold um, that we usually hold
Okay, but
exclusive.
okay,
So emotional
listen,
maturity, communicational
I really
skills.
need to leave, so please let me just say this thought, and because I really need to go. Like, I would be willing to if the person I really want to be with is more inexperienced, I will weigh the advantages and disadvantages, and probably I will be willing to be with a more inexperienced or even more, let's say, messed up person. If this is what I really want for me, if this is the person I really want to be with, so maybe in the end I really don't give a fuck how noob or green or whatever you are, and maybe I will just go for it because that's what
Then
feels
you're
right for
disagreeing with
my.
the first one. More XP, more better. That's
I
then
mean,
you're
maybe it's more. I mean, I'm not saying it's more worse. Maybe it's more better, but maybe it's not more right for me. Not
so
necessarily.
you're not so you would like to so you're saying that it could be possible that you prefer a partner that has less experience.
I might.
That's I don't know. I think that's fucked up.
Okay.
I mean, the
Are we no
first
longer
thing.
friends?
I mean, the first thing that comes to mind is men who like to have like nubile, just barely legal girls who don't know sex or don't know emotion and
No,
don't know how a partner's.
you're confusing two things, and that is something. I'm not saying that I want someone because of that. I'm saying that I might want someone despite of their
Yes,
inexperience,
yes,
which is
yeah.
very two
You're
different
you're
things.
you're offering me a false choice. I told you it's the same person, and this same person either has less experience or more experience.
You've never said it's the same person.
Yeah, I did. The first
Do
thing
I?
I told you. So it's a hypothetical. Same person.
Then I have amnesia. I'm sorry. Then I have amnesia.
I
If it's the
explained it
same,
to you specifically. Yes, Marta, sorry, we're going back to sexual because it's a really palpable, it's a really nice plastic way of showing what's like good or not good. And oftentimes in these sort of exclusive relationships, they tend to be sexual. So we don't have to go there, but if we choose emotional maturity or emotional experience, it's very hard, I think, to just point to
okay,
problems and
look,
have a terminology.
for me it's really it's I'm not dismissing your premise, but it's really hard for me to think in these hypothetical non-real premises, because I think of the real world, but I cannot imagine myself
No, in
having
the
to
real
choose.
world, it's more likely that you will have a bad time with somebody who is having their first relationship with you and who has not already gained the maturity needed to have a functional, long-lasting relationship with you. So you will have to deal with all the
True, but
shit
in what?
that they didn't get to deal with other people.
Yes, but in what circumstance in the real world do I have to choose between two people who are the same but only differ in experience?
No, but you choose between two possibilities. One is where people are encouraged to have as much experience as they can so that they get mature and well lived. And then you get richer
That's
people.
what. No,
You know
that's
me
the
well enough.
parents' job. That's the parents' job. Maturity doesn't come from sexual partners.
Okay, we don't
Intelligence
have to.
doesn't
Okay,
come from
we
that.
can try to not use the sexual part of this relationship for the rest of the discussion. If you feel like it's more getting too focused on the sexual, we don't have to use it anymore. So I'm
Dude, there is
talking.
no discussion for me. I need to leave. I'm
Yeah,
gone.
you
I got
go,
it, babe. Go. I got it.
go.
Go. Bye,
I'll
bye,
argue for
bye.
you.
Thank
So,
you.
Okay,
talking
so
just about
maturity
the
comes from
non-sexual
parents and
relationships. Yeah?
okay, but that maturity you're talking about, it
Does it
has to
come from
come from your
experience?
childhood and your parents and the society
Yeah, the
with you.
society as well. So
Like
why?
if I can fuck you 100 times, but I cannot teach you empathy.
Okay, let's make it a taboo word to talk about sex for the rest of this conversation because I feel like it always it instead of serving as a good example, it serves as the base for the argument.
Because we're disagreeing with you.
On
And
what?
that's okay.
On what?
And that's okay. Like, this isn't an issue. Disagreement will happen in the discussion.
No,
We
yeah, I
we will
understand
not
that.
agree with everything you say all the time.
But
That's
the
unrealistic.
problem is why you disagree. If Alpaca is going
I'm
to
telling you why.
disagree,
I'm telling
because
you why.
okay,
I'm
so you
explaining my
think
point.
that we should get the necessary experience from our parents, so that later, when establishing new relationships, we're already well formed and we can just jump into relationships and they will function.
If you're mature
How do you
and
get
you're
mature?
dating someone who you like and who it works with, because yeah, the relationship will very likely work. Why would it not?
Well, I'm starting from the premise that the more experienced you are in relationships, plural, the easier it will be for you to notice previous mistakes and to course correct so that those mistakes don't happen again. So I start from the assumption that your previously gained knowledge, which will sometimes possibly be based on mistakes, will help
That's
you.
one way to get that's one way to get knowledge. That's the hard way. Then there's the easy way. Your parents teaching you what to expect and what to accept as a human being and what not to accept. There's two ways. There's
Okay,
the fucked up childhood where you don't learn your worth and then you learn it in relationships, what you don't like. And then there's the easy way. You know exactly what you're worth and you come into a relationship with rules, limits, and expectations set.
so my issue here would be that What you're suggesting is that instead of experimenting and finding our own path, we are to be given our parents' path, and then all will be well because we're following. That's traditionalism. That's a core value of just valuing tradition. Because if your parents tell you what kind of person you should be and how it's going to work, then you know this, and you will follow this because it's the only thing you know.
No, that's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is if you teach that you're valuable and what you're worth, you will not need to hit your head on the wall. You
No,
don't need a boyfriend that treats you like shit to recognize shit because you'll not put up with it.
yeah, you won't put up with it, but you will not know how to put up with it.
You don't have to.
If you don't know how to put up with it, you might end up in tricky situations. So your parents cannot know everything. Your parents can't prepare you for the 21st century if they were born in the 50s. They can only teach
But they
you
can,
their experience from half a century ago. Yeah, Marta wanted to say something.
yeah, but they will teach you the core values.
What are
Be
the
res-
core values? I don't want two people or one person. No,
or
uh,
experience.
I don't want a handful of people instilling values into me. That's not how I like to explore the world. I don't like somebody telling me what's right and what's wrong and then setting me off into the world so that I can find my, one true love and then I follow what my mama told me.
That's not what I said. What I said is if your mama tells you that you're worth of love, not worth of violence, not worth of bullshit and lying and cheating, you don't have to go through it to know that you don't like it.
Yes,
You
and you're
already know that you're not going to put up with it. You
yes.
already know that you're worth that much. You're
So
not going to settle with a cheater because we know them when we see them.
that's
We know.
that's so okay. I want to let Marta speak her mind because we're gonna start rambling. We're gonna go into digressions. I have an issue with most of what you said in that last sentence.